Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Talking Ruggers. Thank you so much for joining us on our journey to talk ruggers with everyone involved in our beloved game who isn't only a current professional player, to try and find out more about their stories, give you some professional advice on getting into their industries, and ultimately to put the rugby world to rights. And this week we have a slightly shorter but incredibly insightful conversation with a bloke who really does just say it how it is. That, along with other skills he has developed from his time serving in the RAF, he has applied to the rugby business world on a mission to build the coolest brand in the game. He's trying to fix the age-old issue with rugby becoming outdated by leaning into its old-fashioned roots in fashion. He has just dropped, in my opinion, some of the best-looking garms in the game, so make sure you go and check them out after you've finished liking this episode and rating it 5 stars if you did enjoy. But without any further ado, you may know him as Rugby Buckets, or in more recent times after the rebrand RB Club. But today we are talking ruggers with the man behind the brand, Jack Wiles. Okay, Jack, what is RB Club in your own words?
So RB Club was born from looking for a clothing brand within rugby that wasn't there. So I've tried to create stuff and create a brand around what I want to see people in rugby wearing. And yeah, that's pretty much where it all started with RB Club. I think everything in rugby is so aimed at a certain demographic, with your 3-button polo tops, your quarter zip fleeces, and that's it. And everything is either sportswear. And it's like, can we just have a bit of style? Like you see so much in football, you see so much in other sports. And then you got everyone dressed like a 60-year-old father. So we're here to change that.
It's either the 60-year-old father or some lad in a polo shirt that's 2 sizes too small with his belly hanging out at the bottom, getting off the bus on the way to a game on a Saturday. There's definitely a gap in the market for it. And it's leaning back into the roots, I suppose, of rugby heritage. But before we dive into everything RB Club, let's get into your roots, mate. Talk to me about your rugby playing career. What was your first ever experience in the game?
So I started rugby around 7, 8. I played for a local team called Tondi first, which is about 5 miles from my house. I played there for 2-3 years, played for district through school, had West Wales trials, got in, and then had a phone call a week later saying, you're not in now, some rich kid's gone in your place. And then played for youth for my local team, Nantyffyllon, and then joined the RAF. And I've played RAF under-23s, RAF Rugby League, and yeah, that's pretty much my playing days. I finished when I really started this because injuries are way too common and I need to work.
It is the tough balance to find between enjoying your rugby on the weekend and still being able to move come Monday morning. It's something that we all suffer with when we've got games on the weekends. You played rugby league as well as union. What positions were you typically playing?
7 in union and I was a centre in league.
Right, okay, so a physical kind of player. Is there any sort of role models you have in the game? Sam Warburton screams out to me straight away.
It's not Sam, mate. My childhood hero in rugby was Martin Williams, Welsh 7. Like, I just loved the way he played. Being a smaller stature as well, which I was quite small as a kid. So Martin Williams, yeah, was my hero. And Alex Popham. I don't know if you remember him. Alex Popham, he was a 6 for Wales.
It might be a slight generational thing, I think, maybe. Oh, that's brilliant. So you're a physical kind of player. Do you like enjoy the rough and tumble of it back in the day?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, tackling, man. Favourite thing about it.
Oh, I suppose that's why you like league as well. But that league then took you all the way through to being in the RAF, right? So you're an army man. Talk me through how that came about. How did you end up being involved in the military services?
So I was a bit of a tearaway as a 17, 18-year-old. Drink, fighting, all that mad stuff you do. And yeah, I basically got arrested, mate, in Cardiff. Came home and the old man, after I spent the night in the cell, and the old man was crying, I was like, I've got to do something here. And then went down the AFCO the next week and signed up for the RAF. And yeah, never looked back.
Wow, so what a way to turn your life around. I suppose that's an interesting story when you mention, I suppose, the imbalance between like private education and the easy access almost into those higher player pathways. And when you're in these, I assume you were in a state school by the sounds of things.
Yeah, just normal school, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And now you can like sometimes get neglected in that sense, and that's tough to hear. But at least you got yourself to the right track. What sort of things did being in the military teach you about life that you've then brought forward with you, especially in a rugby sense?
I think just the discipline, mate. Like the hardest thing about this business is to keep going. And that's one thing the military gives you bags of, that willingness to just keep going forward. Even if your chips are down, keep pushing on. And that's something that's really carried over into what we're doing now and how our growth has been.
Yeah, those lessons pass over to a business sense without a shadow of a doubt. What's like your the lowest and highest points? Like, what have you got any like memories from being in the military where you're like, oh, I really learned a lot from that? And on the flip side of that, have you got any great memories, any fun things, especially around rugby?
I wouldn't say, mate, I'd have any bad memories. The people I've met, I was actually explaining this to the missus the other day. We went up to Manchester for the photo shoot, and on the way back down from Manchester, I popped in two of my mates' houses. I was like, how many jobs give you that where you can go anywhere in the country and you know someone in that town, or you know someone and you can just go to their house, knock on the door, and it's like the last time you've seen them was yesterday. But one of my mates I hadn't seen for 5 years. And it's like, you can't buy that, the friendships you get from being in the military.
I suppose, I mean, it'll probably come across in the complete wrong way, but it's kind of like initiations and pre-season in rugby, but obviously dialed up quite significantly. I'm not suggesting that they're anyway like army training, but when you go through those tough things together, like it's horrible. I mean, I remember initiations at university. They were pretty tough times. I'm sure it was way worse when you're in the RAF, but yeah, those do unite you, and you can keep those friendships across. And that's the same in rugby in some sense. Like, it's a physical game. You know, it's tough in places, and those bonds can really carry you through. And that's a real interesting way of seeing things, because it's just how you look at it at the end of the day, I suppose. Like, yeah, there were those tough times, but it's what you carry with you forwards.
So, like, my cousin was looking to join, and I explained to him, he's like, what's it like? What's it like? I said, the best way to explain it, it's a rugby team, but you're with them every single day for 6 months of training, and then you spend the rest of the rest part of your career with your best mates. It's like being in a rugby team, being in the military, or being a soldier in the military.
The camaraderie of it all. Yeah, the common purpose, the common goals steering every direction you're in, the communication that's required. Not that I have any experience in the army, old man's up about that, but I can imagine. You've seen, for example, like Exeter Chiefs, when they give their insight into their pre-season. I don't know if you've seen the documentary series around that, how they go into some army camps and do some sort of training like that.
Yeah, they do it with the Marines, don't they?
Yeah, and they go to some like bog somewhere and they go running through the wet sand and it looks horrendous.
Yeah, shit.
The physical side, but the mental side of things as well. And that sounds like a real way to learn a lot about yourself, but also skills, like you're saying, about discipline and keep on moving forwards. And speaking of moving forwards, you then have forged a path here into the rugby space. I mean, your growth is amazing. How did you get to this stage? How on earth did you transition from being in the military to now a life of rugby fashion?
So it all started, I was on tour. I was on tour with the military, on an operational tour, and I was based with Americans, and the Americans, like in everything else, they go big wherever they go. So the Americans had a sewing room, a little ISO container, and me being a tight ass, I, like, in the military, you have lads who buy loads of kit. You know, like people in rugby who buy loads of boots. Like, I've never understood people buying 3 boots for a season. I've still got 1 boot that I've had for 3-4 years. But in the military, you have kit pests, where it's lads who will buy every single bit of kit, a pouch for here, a pouch for there. Well, I seen this sew room, and I seen that's me getting freebies there. I'll make them myself. So I started making like wash bags. I started making pouches, all this stuff. So I didn't have to buy it. And then other people were going, oh, will you make me one of them? I was like, yeah, $40. So I was making, for the lads, making bags, making wash bags. And then from that point, I came back about 3-4 months later, still with this. I was able to sew then. I'd learned everything off YouTube, and I was able to sew. And I was away again on a training job, and I seen this girl on YouTube do a bucket hat out of a pair of jeans, out of a pair of Levi jeans, and I was like, bell moment, Imagine Rugby jerseys. And obviously a lad who's had loads of rugby jerseys just gone to the charity shop or gone in the bin. What a way to turn them round. And then Rugby Buckets was formed in my upstairs bedroom. And yeah, we filled the Principality Stadium this week with followers. 74,500.
When you speak about having all the gear and no idea, then that is exactly who I am. I am that guy with about 15 pairs of boots at home. I have no idea what I'm doing with all of them, but I know all about them. It's fascinating. I remember a few weeks ago speaking to Duncan from Bump for Vintage and talking about like upcycling pieces of clothing. And that's definitely something that you've lent into in this sense, and taking old things and making them new again. Jerseys that I think some people sometimes may look at and think, why are you cutting that up? Because I see some of these jerseys, and I'm like, I want to wear that one. Why are you cutting that one up? But some of them, yeah, you're taking rags and turn them into riches, into absolute works of art in some ways.
And mate, that was the whole purpose of the business. But I later come to find that people are sending in brand new tops they've bought from online. So I've had two £90 jerseys sent in to make a hat numerous times.
People in rugby sometimes have too much money on their hands.
Yeah. £230 hat.
I mean, hey, it's testament to the brand, I suppose. They want to have that label all over it, clearly, because I suppose it's worth more than that in the end, because you made something that's a unique piece of clothing. It's a one-of-one item. Of course, we'll divulge later into the clothing line that you're coming out with, but back in the origins, it was all about just that complete, unique piece of kit. What was the most unique jersey you've been sent in?
They have done some random ones like Uruguay, like loads of just random countries. I think the most wackiest one was Marla's. We done Joe Marla one, and he sent in his Barbers top, his Lions top, his England top, and a Quins, and it was just a mixed match of all of them. It was epic, man. Like the three jerseys were game-worn jerseys, and then his Barbers just like a training top. But yeah, that was a fun.
So does that mean you have shreds of Lions jersey just hanging around your house?
Yeah, so we make ugly buckets as well.
Yeah.
So they are used so an ugly bucket is made up of 6 panels, but it's made up from 6 different jerseys. You don't know what you're getting. It's 30 quid, and when you get it, you go, nice.
But yeah, one way to again, like, talk about upcycling and not like the amount of clothing there is in the world right now and how it all just goes to waste or gets lost somewhere, and you're really making the most of it. So from an ethical point of view, you're doing brilliantly in that sense, 100%. But let's talk a little bit more about what it actually takes to have this business. What does a day look like for you in terms of not only just like creating these items of clothing, but now actually logistically managing the process, designing all these items as well? Talk me through how that looks for you across the course of a day and a week.
Since starting RB Club, mate, it's been tenfold harder than doing the bucket hats. The bucket hats is an easy process. It's jersey gets sent in, I cut it, we press it, we sew it, it gets sent back out. I didn't know how hard this was going to be, and it has tested me massively. People think it's just, you get a design, you can put a logo on it. It's not. There's so much more to it other than that. Time, money, and effort, mate. If you are going to go into something like this, get ready to strap in tight and work hard, because it's another level.
I understand that on a very smaller scale. I made my own level up rugby t-shirts a year or so ago, and I thought the same. I was like, here we go, t-shirt, slap a logo on it, made the design. I mean, that was hard enough as it was, trying to get a designer to go through all the intricacies of what they're doing. But then you talk about finding the manufacturer, and then it turns out you've got like a million to choose from Portugal to Taiwan. And you've got all these places in between that who are all bidding for your own piece of kit. And you want to make sure that it's good quality, whilst also not paying too much for it, because you've got to pay for that cost up front, because then there's the financial side of things as well. And then tracking all the orders to make sure. And it's just, the list goes on and on and on. It sounds great at first. You're like, cool, let's design something fun here and make it like the branding and marketing side of things. It makes everything feel so much easier. But the actual day-to-day stuff, I don't think people appreciate, is difficult. What do you think is the hardest part about your day-to-day?
The things that pop up. Like, you could be on an absolute cloud 9, sales are good, the day's going well, and then ping, 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 you go, how has my day been ruined by 3 little emails or a phone call or a text? But it's those stuff, and I think especially back to the military, where you test and adjust and you've got to crack on. Nobody else is going to come and sail this ship for me, so it's all on my back. I've got to take it in. And I was just on another call before this, mate, with the guy that does all our ads, Jack. And he was saying to me about how the support system I've got with my missus and my dad, how I can just go and talk to people. I was so bad for it at the start of this, mate, just keeping everything in. And then I'd have a mental breakdown and I'd just be lost for words for weeks. Like I'd just be in a shit place. And then as soon as you start opening up about the stresses about finance, all this kind of stuff, it takes a load off. So anyone who is trying to get into this or do something similar or is in this situation, talk to people is my best advice for anyone. I don't know if I've gone off on a tangent there, I don't know.
No, mate, I think that's a really important lesson. It's something that people don't truly appreciate before you get into these things, especially when finances start to come into the picture and you've got your partner who, in reality, like, they haven't signed up for this. They may love you and love what you're doing, but the financial side especially, and you don't want to tell them, oh shit, like I've just piled a lot of money into this, like I'm a little bit nervous, it's not going exactly to plan. But it's sometimes, I heard on another podcast, like you're denying them the opportunity to help you because they want to do that. They want to be there for you, but it's so hard to initially have that conversation. And I think, yeah, it may be a tangent, but it's an important one to open up and have those conversations with people. Don't deny them the opportunity to help you. And sometimes it takes a little bit extra effort from you to swallow that pride pill and just go, actually, I'm struggling here. I think that's a worthy tangent to go down, mate, 100%.
It is, mate. And like, do you know, we're in a place now, we've put our biggest order in and a lot of money's out, but we're waiting now for our drop end of this month and then obviously on to Black Friday. And it's, you look at the money gone out and you go, my God, where's it all gone? But then you realize it's above my head in stock. It's like, it is there. I haven't just gone and pissed it up against the wall. Do you know what I mean? But it's so scary, mate. It's like nothing I've done in the military comes close to how I feel doing this job in terms of being scared.
That's fascinating. That's really interesting. I'd like to dive into that a bit more. Like, yeah, the stress that you're dealing with in the military is such an immediate pressure, like a threat to life. And I feel like, again, not from speaking from experience, but you're prepped for that, you know, the way that they train you for this. You're a sole trader. No one is here to guide you. No one's teaching you this. And the pressures that you're under aren't immediate. They're not obvious. It's not someone pointing a gun in your face. It's the tax man coming after you if you don't sort out your finances because the government aren't there to sort you out. It's whether you buy all this stock in and you don't shift it or something goes wrong. How have you learned to deal with those things along the way? Is it a matter of like taking those lessons from the army and trial and error?
Yeah. I think that the keep pushing is a big part of it. Just keep pushing, keep doing what you're doing. We know it's working. It's been like from our first drop of our vests, we had so many sales of it. And then you're waiting for the next order to come. So you have a quiet month, be like that. Oh my God, it's gone. It's done. But then you got to step up. Like I get told all the time, I read into things too much as like the little small details. You've got to step back, put your business head on. Right, we're doing this because that needs to happen. And that's the things I'm learning on the job, mate. And that's one thing I love about this. Every single day I learn something different. If it's even to a way I pack a parcel or I'm always evolving. And that's one of the reasons I left the military, because I didn't feel I was learning anything anymore. I just felt I was going through the motions, doing the same old thing every day. And I needed something else.
Yeah. It's fun, isn't it? Like you do mention the stresses and it is stressful. I mean, you're so, especially like more so than mine necessarily, because you're throwing finances into these things. And like I said, the pressure's not just on you, it's on everyone around you too. But it is pretty fun along the way.
Mate.
Like you've got to build this brand. And I think
it's the best, man. It's so good. It's
yeah.
so rewarding. Do you know, like when you do stuff and you tap yourself, you go like, my God, that was good.
100, and you can look and you actually have something, especially in your case, like you have a physical product. But I think as good as the physical product is, I'm loving what you're coming out in recent times. And I've loved seeing all the buckets that come along the way as well. But the reason I think alongside that, making a good product is the story you're telling along the way. This conversation we're having right now, who you are as a person, the marketing side of things from a technical point of view, but also from an emotional point of view. Before we delve into your strategy for the marketing side of things, what's your inspiration for doing all this? What is your reason why to get you through those tough periods, but that people also you think resonate with?
Too sure to answer that. I really want a Porsche. No, mate, I when I left the military, mate, I went into a job in an office, well paid. I lasted 3 weeks. It was nearly double of what I was on in the military, and I was like, can't do it. I thought I could adjust to it, mate. My brain does just not work in that way. I can't sit in front of a laptop. But then me and the missus were chatting last week, the week before. Most of my day is spent in front of a laptop now. But because it's for me and something I'm building, it's totally different. Does that resonate?
I'm so with you on that. I would, yeah. Oh, mate, 100%. It's not about me, obviously, but I resonate to what you're saying entirely. I was working a sales job, paid really well, was thoroughly enjoying it, wasn't doing too bad at it, but I was slogging away from 8 till 6 every day. And I'd then get home, like I'd go to training if it was a Tuesday, Thursday, and then I'd just edit through till 10 p.m. And then I'd go back to work the next day and think, I'm spending a shed load of time here, and all I'm getting for it in return is money. And don't get me wrong, money's pretty great. Like, it can get you a lot of things in life. It can buy you freedom in some senses, but there's other ways of getting money. And a friend's parent of mine told me that if you dominate any industry that you're in, the money will come to you. No matter what industry it is, even with rugby, with the financial state it's in at times, the money will come round to you. So if you can find something that you can sustain yourself in, so you can climb all the way to the top and enjoy your life in the process, then you turn up to work and it's not really work. Like, you just, like we are right now on this podcast, I'm having a chat about rugby, living the dream, you know, but you've got to take that first step. And that's the hardest one. You know, once you get that ball rolling and you post your first social media video, you know, you're going to get stick from the boys for it. You're going to have a hard time for it. Was that ever the case for you? Because I feel like you're not bad in front of camera. You just sort of are who you are.
No, mate, I didn't really have stick, to be fair. Probably not in front of my face, but maybe behind my back. Probably, yes. But who's going to be laughing when we own a multi-million-pound brand? It is what it is, isn't it? I wouldn't have sold a hat there if I never made a video. So,
and it's not exactly like you were doing some TikTok dances either. You know, you were building a brand.
I nearly got to that stage a few times.
The desperation came in.
Nothing's popping off. You know, I'm gonna have to strip off and get dancing.
Yeah, just a bucket hat on and some budgies. Oh, I'm sure people would love to see that. But that leads us nicely then into the marketing side of things. From my point of view, like I'm a marketing student, like that's what I love talking about. It's really interesting seeing what you're doing. Not only building the brand, but your personal brand alongside it. You've leveraged your story, talking about all that you've been through, all you've come from, and also how that reflects in your business. You know, how the versatility and just adaptability to circumstances that you had to learn through the army is then essentially translated into the literal pieces of clothing you're making, being versatile and adaptable from what they previously were. Talk me through your side of things. I'm looking at it from the outside in. What is your strategy to help grow your brand, and what are you trying to leverage?
Just, I think with being truthful, mate, there's one thing I've wanted to be. I see a lot of brands, or that term brands gets used a lot, but people who I've met and they're not the same the person they are behind the camera. It's like, one thing I wanted to do was stay the person you see behind the camera or the person you watch on your phone. When you meet me in Cardiff and I'm having a pint, I'm exactly that person. I'm not trying to fake anyone. I'm telling you as it is. Everything is truthful. And it goes back to the military again, mate. Integrity. It's like one of the key pillars. So I wanted to be totally truthful. Do you not seeing one person on a screen and then it's actually nothing like that?
Yeah, I think, especially in the social media space, that is definitely a thing. But I think in rugby, I think we don't do too badly at it. I think the majority of people you see and speak to are genuine. They care about the game. They love what they do. And like, I think perhaps it comes back to the reason why you didn't get any stick, because people see you online and you're still the same person that you were offline. Like, it's hard to give someone stick for just being who they are. That's a bit harsh, if anything. So if you just carry on being you, that's the authenticity. And I think that authenticity comes through. Like I was saying, like, I think people resonate with who you are. I mean, you're making some pretty cool stuff. That speaks for itself. But when you start speaking behind it too, it really propels it even further forwards.
And I think it's hard to keep up an act. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't last. If you
Yeah.
if you're not being truthful, you're only going to last 6 months a year.
100%. It's always tough. I've done it on occasion where you put out a piece of content and like it's something you've tried to like gamify the system. You've tried to really dial in on a trend and then it flops and you feel like you've sold your soul to the devil and you've come back with a few peanuts. And it's a horrible place to be. And it's like you say, unsustainable if you're really just chasing those extrinsic rewards. Like you say, you've got to do it for the intrinsic, that feeling that you just love to get out of bed in the morning and face these challenges head on. I think that's the best thing about this. And yeah, it's great to see that from your story as well.
Cheers, man.
Speaking about the more business side of things then, we've spoken about marketing there and we've mentioned how, you're really pushing your story to get people to resonate with the brand, especially the RB club side of things. But from going from Rugby Buckets, like all the way through to now having the brand, moving forward from a marketing point of view, what brands in the sportswear industry are you really taking inspiration from here?
Well, none, because that's where I started. There was nothing that I thought was half decent. So that's why we've gone our own and done it ourselves. I'm more looking into fashion brands as an inspiration more than any sportswear brand, mate.
That's really interesting. Okay, in that sense then, what fashion brands might you say?
I'm a big fan of Cole Buxton, Picante. That's the kind of area and age range that we are pushing the product to. Obviously, we have a lot of older customers as well from the bucket hat stuff, but they buy it. They love what we're doing. And it's not a product for any age. It's a product for everyone in rugby. Anyone who's a rugby fan, our products are for. But the kind of way we want to style it is around what our ages are, from 21 to 35. And you want to look cool going to a game, and you don't want to just wear a shit polo neck top. Do you know what I mean?
We're seeing the resurgence of it.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. What saris are doing as well, it's like, I think that what they've done this year is brilliant.
It's unbelievably good. As a marketer myself, I love to see it. And like you're saying, first of all, from a fashion point of view, I mean, arguably, potentially, they've been doing this for a wee while now. When you think back to the game they're playing at the London Stadium, and they all, similar to like the basketball lads, having their fashion walk on the way in. Of course, mixed reviews, as it always is in the rugby space. There's the lovers and the haters. But there is a resurgence of rugby's roots, going back to what makes rugby rugby. There's certain things that hold rugby back from growing even further, but leveraging the heritage of the sport in the positive ways, like you're doing with the jerseys, is a real foundation that makes our game so unique. Like, name another sport that has items of clothing in it that actually reach the mainstream media. You see the likes of Ralph Lauren having rugby jerseys, and it's not even called something other than a rugby jersey,
Yeah. And mate, like that thing with the catwalk, I thought that was awesome. And why isn't every single lad getting off that bus going to a game wearing whatever they want, make them look as cool as possible, showing their own personality instead of all of them turning up kind of like robots in the same kit? And that's how you build superstars. Like those young kids looking at them going, my God, I could order that for Christmas and look like him, instead of all being, Pac-Man.
Yeah. And it's that final stage of the pod, as always, where we're trying to put the rugby world to rights here. And it's interesting how the things that make rugby rugby sometimes hold rugby back from being anything more. How, without sounding too wokey pokey, like this hyper masculine world where if you're an outlier, if you stand out in any way that isn't within the confines of the rugby space, then you're looked on as, what is this guy doing? Unless you've got the ability to back it up on the pitch. That's just a standout moment, of course. But typically those people who do that in rugby are the hard, gritty people who don't have much personality about them anyway, and they're happy being like that. That's just who they are. But now we're seeing the likes of Lions tour captains like Mara Itoje, who have an ounce of personality and an absolute bucket full of style, actually starting to progress the game outside of the confines of the game. We're reaching into the mainstream media and tying that back into what rugby actually is with what you're doing with the jerseys, and turning up to a game day and going, like, I actually want to look like I'm, a pretty cool guy. And that's what I love about what the jerseys you are making are doing.
Yes, mate. That's quite a cool concept when you think of that. How good you're going to perform on the pitch is how extravagantly you'll dress, go into the game. Because if you've really gone proper fashionable to the game, you have an absolute stinker. You've got to walk out in that clobber as well.
Yeah, it makes it a little bit more difficult. But that is the thing with rugby. Like, you go to a game and everyone claps every try. You know, that's what makes rugby rugby. It's brilliant. I love it. But that's what Saracens are doing right now, which is causing this division. They're not afraid to be the villain in that sense,
Yeah.
not even just against opposition, but against rugby as a whole, because what they're doing is saying, look, we've got a personality here, because in rugby, there's no I bigger than the team, no individual that stands out more than any other. And again, it's what makes rugby rugby, and I absolutely love that. But it doesn't mean we all have to be robots, because what kind of game do we have there? Where's the fun in that? Where's the style? Where's the individuality that breaks games apart, like Marcus Smith does, for example? It should be reflected off the pitch as well.
Yeah, exactly, mate. And that's how you build these superstars, and that's fundamentally what will push the game forward, in my opinion.
100%. And you see the likes of Red Bull getting involved as well. Is that where you see rugby going now? What's the thing that's really exciting you at the moment about rugby moving forwards?
I think that Red Bull was so cool, mate, to see a main street, this massive organisation coming into rugby. Like, and it'll swivel a few heads with other massive companies going, well, perhaps we could do that, which brings in more money.
It's a simple equation. It is a matter of attention, eyes on the sport, and no matter how you get those eyes, like, that's the angle that I'm trying to come through things with. Like, rugby's a complicated game. I'm trying to help people to understand it more so that they can enjoy it, but also off the pitch, going beyond the full-time whistle. What are we doing to actually enhance the experience for people? And fashion is something that, I mean, everyone wears clothes. Not everyone so fashionably rather than others, but everyone's got a slight interest in it. And if we can bring that into the game and start to talk about this more, like you see those tennis players that Hugo Monye was speaking about, who wore their rugby jerseys after their final game. It's like, okay, we're actually reaching people here.
Yeah, exactly, mate.
Speaking of people, you know, beyond being on the pitch, who are some of your favourite creators at the moment to get this back into the rugby creator sphere? Who are people that you're loving watching the content of at the moment, similar to your own?
Well, mate, I went and met Max after our photo shoot in Manchester, because we are doing a collaboration with Max. The first of next summer, the first drop of next summer, we've got something going with Max. So I love Max's videos, mate. I think they're so clean, and it was nice to actually see the man work firsthand. Very, very funny. So yeah, love Max's stuff, mate.
So are you having a sponsored line? We've got our first RB sponsored line coming out next summer.
Me and Max have done something together.
Oh, that's exciting.
I don't know
Looking forward to seeing that. I met Max over for the Lions tour. He came over to Melbourne. And yeah, he enjoys the social as much as the rugby, that's for sure. He does lean into that rugby lifestyle side of things as well. He's a funny bloke. But yeah, he gets his job done, and he's done brilliant things for our space. Like, look at what he's done to create some traction, some waves in it.
Outstanding, mate. He's brilliant at what he does, mate. Really, really good. And I was chatting to him yesterday, mate. We were chatting about Tesla updates on the car. Love Bumfer.
Yeah, he's a great bloke as well. And you mentioned Jared Harris as well, the rugby guy. What other people have you made buckets for? Give us the top 5 people that you've had to make some buckets for.
Joe Marler, the rugby guy, Sash, the South African Springbok, Sia Khaleesi, and every other person who's ordered his 5th.
The people. Unreal. There's some massive names in there. That's unreal. They've really reached far and wide with it. Again, people clearly resonating with what you're doing. It's really making some waves.
I probably forgot people there, mate. I've made so many. My memory is bloody awful. I've made so many videos, I forget. But yeah, they're the ones that popped out straight away. The rugby guy really gave us our first big break. He was the biggest one we'd ever done. I was only on like 5,000 followers, mate, and I made him a Wales England reversible, and he wore it to Twickenham.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah.
I've seen it, mate. I've seen the journey. I've been watching behind the scenes. I've seen it. It's a phenomenal journey. You go from there to there to there, and it's all of a sudden here we are with the clothing line being launched as well. What is your fondest memory? Like, whether that's in rugby playing times, but then also another one from the business sense, like something you're really proud of.
Rugby memory, mate, would probably be, I went on a rugby tour with the RAF Reg in Rotterdam, I believe it was, and mate, the best of 3 weeks on tour. Absolute carnage. We beat every team over 100-0. It was so, like, we were a decent team, and obviously Netherlands is not known for rugby. So just being with your mates, drinking most every day, and just playing rugby and training. Like, we was turned up to training in the morning. After we played the first game, nearly every single lad turned up pissed to training for the next 7 days, 8 days. It was like, we don't
Classic
we
rugby
don't
talk.
want it anymore.
Yeah. I mean, if you're winning 100 points to nil, I don't blame them. You've got to try and enjoy yourself along the way as well.
Yeah, it was good, man. Such a good time. And the stories from the socials out there.
Brilliant.
There was taxi doors coming off. There was, I won't go any further into it, so I don't.
Don't incriminate yourself. Yeah, we've got a business to keep here. We don't want the Govey coming after you. Well, I'm sure there's been plenty worse done on plenty of other tours, so I wouldn't worry too much. But I think we can all resonate with that. Going on tour, turning up to a game on a Saturday morning and just feeling, why on earth am I bothering to play any rugby here? I did not sign up for this. And the other team have been preparing for this international team to come over for the longest time. And you're like, lads, let's have a gentleman's agreement here. Let's not go too hard into this.
Yeah. Let's go straight in the clubhouse.
What about a business sense then? What's your proudest achievement along this way? And who's some people that you really are thankful for? You mentioned your father, you mentioned your partner. Who are some people that you're really thankful for along this process that you've been on?
This time is too short for me to thank everyone. With social media, you build friendships as well with social media. Like, there's people who I've never met before. And then I feel like I give them a call now just to chat to. So I feel like I know them that well from texting them over Instagram, and it can be a demon, but it can also be the best place, social media, man. I've been lucky. We haven't really had any flack over the whole period, apart from a Man City jersey where I got absolutely rinsed in the comments by some, I think it was Argentinians.
So football.
It was 8.7 million views, and I was like, yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah. No such thing as bad publicity, eh?
Oh, exactly, mate.
And I think that's the thing that's really come through to me on this and speaking with you is just, you are who you are. You know, we speak about like what your inspiration is. It's to get a bloody Porsche. You know, like, jokes aside, there's no holding back with you. And I think that's what resonates with most people. Of course, like I've said numerous times, the clothing speaks for itself. I cannot wait to get back to the UK and get my hands on one of them jerseys. As soon as the drop came out on the socials, which have been killing, I've always wanted to get my hands on them. They just look so good. The quarter design especially. I am like, you could have gone for a plain old jersey, but the quarter design is brilliant. Yeah. But beyond that, it's the personality, who you are, just being who you are, the authenticity that really comes through, man. And it's a privilege to be able to talk to you about all these different parts of rugby. Honestly, I've absolutely loved this conversation. I hope you guys at home have enjoyed it too. You've been listening to Talking Ruggers. I've been your host, OJ. Jack, you shout out where people need to go. How can they help you out moving forwards?
Just keep commenting, liking, sharing posts and videos. We put a lot of hard work into them. Well, I put a lot of hard work into them. Spend a lot of time trying to build this brand I was in my bedroom just over 2 years ago doing this, and now we're in our third unit. So like, comment, share, and if you want to buy something, that'd be great as well. But I appreciate everyone.
Where is the best place to go and get some garms, mate?
Just go to rbclub.co.uk or rbclub.store if you're in Australia.
Of course, you do now have international availability, which is a blessing for me to hear over in Australia right now. Yeah. So thank you so much for making that accessible to me. I cannot wait to get my hands on some stuff. And thank you so much for coming on, mate. I know people are going to love to know a little bit more about you and your story. So I appreciate your time.
Thank you, pal.
Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll catch you in the next one.